Who did the U.S. gain its independence from?
Bella.
Oh.
Bro.
Bro.
You got this, Bella.
Remember when we were doing the whole,
questions.
smartness thing? This is a very weak category for me.
Do you have a different category you want to take a crack at? How about name 3 Kardashians?
I actually don't know either.
How many days are in a year?
How many days in a-
124?
No, I'm so sorry.
How many letters are in the alphabet?
24.
What language do people in Idaho speak?
American?
How many degrees are in a full rotation of a circle?
365, right?
Andrew Tate's not the problem, because if you take Andrew Tate away, you still have this massive group of young men who are clinging to that message on shows like the Whatever podcast. They're bringing them on for this humiliation porn. Why is all of this content allowed on YouTube? YouTube, who has been, at the forefront of we need to protect those who are, a protected class. And women typically fall into that class. So why all of a sudden is all of this content allowed on YouTube that is terribly misogynistic, that's terribly degrading to women? When I don't think that would have been allowed, years ago. I just don't. I think that would have been removed from the platform swiftly. Society hasn't changed that it's really fun to watch a witch be burned at the stake, right? It's really fun to watch this humiliation of women on shows like the Whatever podcast.
Jesus Christ wants you to do OnlyFans work? Just so that we're clear?
Yes.
If God wanted you to do OnlyFans, then what would Satan want you to do?
To stop doing OnlyFans?
Yeah, why do you think he'd want you to stop?
Because I love making sexual content.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you think that God, his preference would be that you continue to make sexual content on your OnlyFans?
Yes. He wants me to do it.
You have these women who they know, they're just OnlyFans models. They're not exactly the brightest bulbs in the bunch. They're not bringing them on for intellectual conversation. They're bringing them on for this humiliation porn. And I think that's become really attractive and rewarded in algorithms. This sort of nastiness, this division of the sexes is rewarded a lot more than talking about what you or I or so many people might find more important. For example, what's something you might find more important than the gender divide? You could name a plethora of things. The issue in this country and the world and the West is not the division of the sexes. We're not going to look back and define this era by the division of the sexes or by the female era. We're never going to call it that.
Yo, so we back in here for another edition of F-ya-Motha, and everything that this woman said couldn't be everything that this woman said was far from the truth. Though women are protected classes for civil rights, not for ridicule, mockery, and even shame. She references the Whatever podcast, which I've seen some of their episodes, and while me personally, I think that they're red pill beta men, not because they pick on women, but because they try to change the mentality of women that are already corrupted and or disagreeable, right? And there's been a saying that I don't know who coined it. You can't put a round shape into a round peg into a square hole. They try to change the minds of girls that are, for lack of better words, not that bright. They don't get it. They won't get it. And me, I'm not in the business of changing the minds, mentalities, or the thinkings of people that are ignorant and willfully unintelligent. That's what they want to do. That's what they're gonna do. And on top of all that, they just squares that you could tell, like, they want to change the minds of hookers and or OnlyFans girls because they feel like there's some nobility in changing the mind of whores. There isn't. You can only change the minds of people that are willing to change and people that are not corrupted. They have feminists, self-proclaimed feminists /304s. They be on these shows, and I don't know. It just squares. Me personally, I don't do a lot of, or haven't done a lot of videos, or gender warring videos, which I probably will, just to kind of test the waters and try something new. Can't keep doing the same shit, expecting different results. But I haven't really done a lot of those because I don't struggle with getting women. I spot women for what they are, and then I proceed. If a woman has proclivities or attributes that I don't necessarily find admirable in a woman, I don't gun for her. I also don't gun for women that ain't choosing. Stupid. A lot of these dudes be beating a dead horse talking about women this and women that and da-da-da-da, and it's like, bro, she doesn't want to be that, so let her be the type of woman she is, which is what's the word that I'm looking for? Let her be a 304, right? 304s, you spot them, you keep it pushing. You don't try to change their mind. They're dead set on what they are. What they are is what they'll be. So that's why I don't really necessarily watch this shit content, because there's a bunch of square ass white dudes that you can tell they never really got chicks when they was broke. And chicks that they did get when they was broke, they were basic as fuck. The dude that's the older dude that's on the show, his wife is average at best. I think she was a single mother before he got with her, so I ain't listening to this guy. He didn't get fine women when he was broke and struggling and younger. Me, I've never really had that problem. When I was younger, I got fine women. I got stories to tell. I've had orgies. I've had trains. You know what I'm saying? In my collection of stories, I got sexual escapades that run into the numbers of the hundreds, right? So much so that I got a friend, every time we used to get on the phone and chop it up, we used to have this thing when we saw each other or we talked on the phone. There's a bar that Ja Rule used to say, "Listen up, I got a story to tell." I think it was in the song with The Murderers with him, Jay-Z, and DMX. He would always call me and be like, "Yo, start off the conversation. Listen up, I got a story to tell." And I would do the same, right? And we would go into stories on sexual exploits, chicks we mess with, right? So I can't relate to these dudes. When I was in my younger age, right, in my 20s, and I was broke, I always got women. Matter of fact, I'd be hard pressed to say that when I was broke, I got more women. I'm actually not as broke as I was when I was 22, and while it's still not a struggle to get women, I'm more intelligent, and sometimes that could be off-putting going on dates because most chicks don't admire a dude that can box them out mentally. So then there's that. You know what I'm saying? My range of getting women have actually significantly diminished, not because like my ability to get women, but just the women that I want to retain. If she's a 304 or she's got 304 tendencies, or she ain't that smart, or she's unambitious, I'm gonna intimidate her. They might not work out. I went on a date with a chick, right, and I had to tell her before we started talking, you may not like me, I'm gonna give you an out. Now I started boxing her out mentally. Right, she wanted to talk politics. I even told her at the beginning of the day, I don't really want to talk about politics, but she proceeded to be persistent, and I started boxing her out mentally, and I guess it must have turned her off. C'est la vie. I'm not gonna fake who I am. And at the time, I think I was like 35. I was at a point of life. I'm not gonna pretend to be palatable just so that I can maintain your attention. It ain't that deep. Back in my 20s, or my teens and my 20s, early 30s, if she was stupid, I'll allow it. If she was unpleasant, I would allow it. If she had 304s just for the sake of smashing and getting the buns, I would just look over it. After 35, I stopped looking over shit. I stopped looking past shit. Now I'm not letting you get no stupidness off on me. And that used to turn a bit of them off. Right now, I still got them, and I still can get them. It's just my tolerance for stupidity or rigidity is just very low. But these dudes, they're just persistent, and in my opinion, they don't actually put these women up to humiliate them. They do a good job of doing it themselves. As we seen in the beginning of the video, before I let this roll, the clip where they were just quizzing women on basic stuff, right? Who did the United States go to war with in the Revolutionary War? They didn't know that. Several other questions that were just basic as fuck. What's the complete degree of a circle? That's 360. How many days is it in a year? One bitch said 324. What are you gonna do? They didn't set them up for disaster. They didn't know that they didn't know those answers. Women just proved their point. So that's not misogyny. Misogyny is a fear or extreme hatred for women. Like I said, the older dude is married. If he hated women, he wouldn't be married. You can't. It's a conflict of interest. You can't hate women and get married. It's like you can't be gay and have sex with women. It just doesn't make sense. So, yeah, it's not misogyny. And this woman says, she goes on to say that I don't think years ago that YouTube would allow it. Actually, ma'am, they allowed more of it. Actually. And it looks like the woman speaking is like in her mid-20s, 25, 26. So she would have been roughly about 5-6 years old. How the fuck you even know about YouTube at 6 years old? You don't. Cut the bullshit. Cut the malarkey. I was around, I think, when YouTube came around, I was 21, 22. And they actually promoted more of it. If they didn't, Tommy Sotomayor would have never got off the ground. He used to berate black women. And several other guys that had talk shows or red pill shows where they actually, went in on women. Now you can't, right? You can't even address women with adjectives like stupid, fat, unhealthy, obese. Those things will get your video flag taken down. I did a video on women that was chubby and out of shape. Just the word chubby they didn't like. So yeah, this woman clearly doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. She just wished that men would stop having women or try to make women unaccountable. And it's not palatable to her sensibilities. And to that, I say, fuck her. Find something else to do with your time. Even the dude she talking to, I think one of them is gay. Even they had a look on their face like she's clearly out of touch with reality and doesn't know what she's talking about. This is coming from an emotional space. She just wished that they wouldn't actually showcase stupid women, because now it exposes everything that these men actually speak about. You don't have to actually berate women, or anyone for that matter. Just have them on your show, let them talk. What do they say? To prove your point, you don't actually have to prove your point. To prove your point, you just have to let the other person prove theirs. And them proving their point actually by default proves your point. Sort of like my shows. I do shows here and there about racism. I don't actually try to expose what racism is typically. I don't expose why people's line of thinking is remedial or out of touch with reality or just unreasonable. I should show videos showing them doing exactly what I say that they do. They prove my point. So yeah, man, the only thing I could say on that is if you don't like freedom of speech, what you're trying to do is censor people. If you don't like freedom of speech, I advise you to go to a third world nation where they don't have that. They have dictators. Go to North Korea. See how that works out for you. China. They imprison people for saying things on the internet. Iran, same thing. They hunt people down, put them in prison, sometimes kill them for saying things that they don't actually find admirable in their country. We don't do that. We allow the dummies to speak, and the dummies actually prove our point. Whether that dummy is a man or a woman or a white person or a black person, it don't matter. Just let them talk. Yeah, that's the only thing I got to say on this. I've been meaning to do this video for a minute now. I just was busy. I'm just now getting around to it because the weather's cold as shit. So I figure, hell, why not? In any event, if y'all like this episode, like, comment, and subscribe. In the description box, there's a link to my store if you'd like to support the machine. I know I forgot to do it on several other videos I just posted in the last week, but I will post those. So if you go back and watch them and look in the description box, you'll see the link. And I'm out.